Hello, my gorgeous soul. In today's video, we're going to be discussing precisely why you keep seeing the synchronicity of the number 11 absolutely everywhere. So here's how this video is structured. We're first going to figure out precisely what the number 11 means in form of a synchronicity, just like what you have constantly been seeing and the reason why you clicked this video. Then we are going to delve into the numerological meaning of the number 11 before we tap into some of 11's history. And then, of course, I'll be giving you the scoop on how you can use the synchronicity of the number 11 that you've constantly been seeing as your personal formula for success. So if you're ready for this deep dive into the master number 11, then buckle up, make yourself comfortable, because things are about to get really interesting. And by the way, you can find the timestamps below in the description box. All right, you guys, so let's get into it. So perhaps you're seeing the number 11 multiple times per day, like when you check the clock and it's 11:11 a.m. or p.m. For example, you go to your favorite coffee store, yourself a matcha, a healthy snack, and it costs $11 on the dot. Or, you know, you're driving and every license plate that you notice seems to have the number 11 incorporated in it. Literally, you park in front of a building and the house number is 11. When this happens, then you are seeing a so-called synchronicity. And I'm now going to explain to you what a synchronicity is. A synchronicity is a concept that was first introduced by Swiss psychologist Carl Jung. Hello, Switzerland represent. You guys know I am half Swiss and I live in Switzerland, hence why I drew this type of license plate. But coming back to the meaning of synchronicity, what it describes the occurrence of events that have a meaningful relationship but not a causal one, which means that these events seem to carry a deeper, more symbolic meaning, but there's not actually any relational connection between these synchronicities and why you're seeing them. So these are some of the key aspects of synchronicities. So unlike random coincidences, synchronicities invoke this feeling of familiarity and having some sort of meaningful connection when these synchronicities show up. A great example for a synchronicity is you thinking about a friend or someone that you haven't spoken to in a long time, and literally the minute you think of them is when they call you or text you. That feels meaningful. That doesn't feel like it's just a random occurrence. And a really important aspect of synchronicities that I want to explain to you is that there is a non-causal relationship. And for that, I want to take you with me on a little personal story that I just experienced, and where this synchronicity is going to be really apparent to you, which will explain really clearly what a synchronicity actually is. So here's my personal example of a synchronicity that I recently experienced. All right, so seriously, like literally the whole day, silence. The moment I want to film, synchronicity, there's noise outside. Anyways, coming back to this example of how synchronicities are defined by the fact that they have a non-causal relationship. So allow me to explain this to you using an example that I just experienced. So here we've got event 1, and then here we have event 2. So event number 1 was that, you know, I'm just going to put a drop here, which represents the fact that my warehouse flooded twice in the span of 1.5 months. It was a very terrible coincidence until synchronicity took place. So my warehouse flooded, which by no means has any causal relationship to the fact that what happened in event 2 is shortly thereafter, my landlord of my warehouse actually approached me and said to me, "Hey, I've got people who are interested in your space. What do you think?" And I here in event number 1 was already thinking to myself, this is a sign from the universe that right now the way my business is structured is not in alignment with where I'm trying to take my life. I want to spend more time creating, educating, and providing you guys with value, and of course also writing my books and my decks. As you can imagine, water and paper did not mix very well. This definitely cost me my last nerve of the year 2024, but it also reminded me of, you know what, you're good at creating decks, you're good at creating videos, and you need to be outsourcing the logistics of these things. You're spreading yourself too thin. So that was event 1. Event 2 of having someone who was actually, let's just put a magnifying glass here, who was actually interested in my warehouse. It has nothing to do with event 1. It's not that because my warehouse flooded and stood underwater twice that someone all of a sudden became interested in the warehouse. If anything, there should be less interest, right? But this is where the synchronicity took place, because there is a non-causal relationship here. Event 1 did not cause event 2, but the synchronicity is what made this meaningful and linked these events together, because all of a sudden, it is like it's meant to be. It's like I'm being guided, I'm being protected. It's like things are working out for me. And this is also what Swiss psychologist Carl Jung believed, and it was that events that have nothing to do with one another can still have a meaningful underlying connection, some sort of hidden order within the universe that links the outer world to the inner world. So in this sense, synchronicities can provide guidance, they can provide affirmation and confirmation and stability, because in this instance, this was the confirmation through this synchronicity that I needed. How so shortly thereafter this tragic event number 1 happening, event number 2 occurred to release me, to free me, because guess what? My business is within a lease until the year 2026. So if event 2 and this person showing up right when I needed them hadn't happened, I wouldn't now be in the fortunate situation where I get to outsource the logistics of my business. So this is a meaningful synchronicity. And leading up to this event, what I kept seeing wasn't the number 11 for this particular synchronicity. It was a different symbol. For me, the symbol continued to show up in the form of dead birds on the road. I don't know what was going on, but literally every day I left my house, there was a new dead bird on the road. And I usually never see so many dead birds just on the street, on the road. And I thought to myself, it must be something in the air. It must be something that has to do with nature, which that could partially be true as well. But for me, that was the synchronicity that led up to this event. That was the symbol. For you, we're seeing the number 11 right now, and we'll figure out precisely what the number 11 means. Don't worry, we'll get there. Hang in there with me. I just really want to make sure that by the end of this video, you didn't just listen to something that went in one ear and out the other. I want you to really understand this and feel it, and then be able to use it to your advantage. So synchronicities can truly lead to some moments of enlightenment, and there are so many ways in which synchronicities show up. Like if you have a dream of something happening and then the next day it occurs, or you dream of someone that you haven't thought of in a really long time, the next day you make contact with them, also running into the perfect person at the perfect moment. It's just like what happened here for event 2 with my synchronicity, and the fact that, you know, the perfect moment occurred where what seemed like game over and such a struggle to rebuild was actually exactly what I needed to free myself from being geographically tied to where I am right now, and find other ways in which I can continue running my business, but in a way that allows me to actually focus on what I'm good at and not be spread so thin by having a physical location that I need to also be in charge of. So I want to talk a little bit more about psychologist Carl Jung's perspective when it comes to synchronicity, just to give this a little bit more of a scientific edge, if you will. So Carl Jung viewed synchronicity as an expression of the collective unconscious, which we'll put right here. So we'll write synchronicity So here we've got synchronicity, which he viewed as an expression of the collective unconscious. Collective So this is the collective unconscious. We'll just put a little cloud around this. He said that archetypal energies are what then? Energies that shape our experiences and connect us to one another. Let's delve a little more deeply into this. So here we have archetypal energies. Archetypal energies which shape our experiences. And this is us here as a collective. So viewing synchronicity as an expression of the collective unconscious, where archetypal energies shape experiences and connect individuals to a greater universal order. So we are eternally connected to one another, stemming from a place of synchronicity, coming from a place of the collective unconscious, where these archetypal energies shape our experiences. And because this is all coming from source, we are all interconnected with one another. So basically, synchronicities reveal the inner interconnectedness from a greater source that we all have, which he believed to provide deeper insights into the inner workings of the psyche and the universe. So basically, synchronicity is a fascinating and profound concept that highlights the meaningful coincidences within our lives. And these events that happen through synchronicity can provide us with valuable insights, guidance, and affirmation to gut feelings that we've already had. So hence why when you continuously see the number 11, it is affirming that there's something greater going on, and we're still going to uncover what that is. So bear with me, you guys. So now, according to numerologist Remington Donovan's book, Numerology, A Beginner's Guide to the Spiritual Meanings of Numbers, the number 11 is the number that contains all other numbers, meaning that the number 11 is the entire cosmos. It's the infinite universe. It is a number of tremendous expansion. So it also makes sense why in numerology the number 11 is also called master number, which is also why people born under the life path number 11 have very special powers and energies. If you don't know your life path number, you can literally head on over to my other channel, type in life path number. I have a whole video explaining to you how you can calculate your life path number based on your date of birth, and then I also explain what each and every life path number means. But just know that the number 11 has always been a very profound number in numerology. So in numerology, the number 11 is considered to be a master number, as it is said to hold some profound spiritual insights and the path to your awakening, the path to your enlightenment. The number 11 is a number of those who are ready to step up into a different era and onto a different level. And in case you didn't notice this, which I'm sure you did, the number 11 consists of the number 1 plus 1, right? We've got a double 1, and the number 1 is the number of leadership. The number 1 is a number of pioneers, people who are independent and people who are supposed to break the mold in this lifetime and who were born to stand out. So it makes sense that when this number shows up twice, this is like an enhancement of the number 1. So it's an amplified version of the number 1, and what the number 11 showing up constantly in your life is trying to tell you is that now is a time for you to step into a leadership role. Stop being afraid of making decisions. Stop being afraid of making the wrong decision and then therefore procrastinating on your dreams. When this number incessantly shows up for you and is not leaving you alone, alone. The thing that your guides, the universe, God, whatever you would like to call it, is trying to tell you with this synchronicity is that you are now going to have to step up. There's no other choice. Life is taking you onto a path of profound change, but a change that is connected to the next level that you must accomplish to get to your goals. So you have to become a better leader. You have to become more fierce. You have to learn to put yourself first. There's no other way. So basically, seeing this master number show up constantly means that you have some sort of higher purpose to fulfill, and time's up for playing small. That's basically what this number is trying to tell you. And for any of you thinking that numbers have absolutely nothing to do with anything spiritual, with a higher meaning or purpose, or that this is just some woo-woo stuff, okay, let's consider the significance of numbers through the entire history of humanity. We'll start off within some ancient civilizations, and we'll start off in particular with Babylonia, approximately 3000 BCE. The Babylonians were among the first to develop a numerical system. They used this numerical system both for practical and mystical purposes. They used mathematics extensively for astronomy, which included divination practices based on numerical patterns. Moving forward to about 3000 to 2000 BCE, the ancient Egyptians utilized numbers in various aspects of their civilization, including architecture, astronomy, and religion. The construction of the pyramids and other monumental structures relied on precise mathematical calculations, which were often also imbued with symbolic meanings. Now moving on to Pythagoras and ancient Greece. I'm sure all of you have heard of this in school before. Now Pythagoras, around 570 to 495 BCE, this Greek mathematician and philosopher founded a religious movement known as Pythagoreanism. He believed that numbers were the essence of all things, that the universe could be understood through numerical relationships. He believed that numbers, just like master number 11, were the essence of all things, and that the universe could be understood through numerical relationships. Now, in about 530 BCE, Pythagoras established his school in Croton, which is modern-day southern Italy, where he and his followers studied the mystical properties of numbers. They developed theories such as the concept of numerical harmony in music, so the ratios of musical intervals, and the idea that numbers had both a quantitative and qualitative significance. In Chinese culture, numbers have very significant meanings. For example, the number 8 is considered highly auspicious because it sounds like the word for prosperity, ba in Chinese. Conversely, the number 4 is often avoided as it sounds like death, or si. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I assume that this is Mandarin, but you guys, I'm not an expert, but you get the picture. So Indian numerology, Vedic tradition to be precise, about 1500 to 500 BCE, this is the Vedic period in India that saw the composition of the Vedas, ancient sacred texts that include discussions on mathematics and cosmology. Numbers were seen as integral to understanding the cosmos and the self. And composed between 800 to 200 BCE, Upanishads, which are texts that delve deeper into metaphysical questions, include the significance of numbers in the universe. Some later developments, such as medieval and Renaissance Europe, like the 14th to the 17th century, in which European interest in numerology was revived during the Renaissance, a period marked by a renewed interest in classical knowledge and mysticism. Thinkers like Johannes Kepler and Isaac Newton studied the mystical significance of numbers alongside their scientific work, which helped to deeply shape and influence modern numerology as we know it today. The works of Aldo Balliet and Juno Jordan helped develop systems for interpreting the numerological significance of names and birth dates, which have become popular in contemporary spiritual practices and New Age movements. So basically, numerology isn't just some woo-woo stuff. It has a very rich and deep history that spans across the entire globe, from ancient Babylonia to India to China to the modern Renaissance within Europe, and to where we are today in numerological practices. Each culture has developed its own unique meanings for numerology and how to use it. So from the mystical insights of Pythagoras to the practical application within Chinese and Indian culture, numerology and numbers, such as our favorite number 11, continues to be a significant tool in order to understand the synchronicities and the links between events, people, and the universe. So since we are now in the modern new age of numerology, which funnily enough, 500 years from now is gonna have some other name, and I wonder what it's gonna be. Maybe it will be called, I don't know, the woo-woo new age numerology, but you know what I mean. We are in this modern day and age and era of numerology. We are in the age of Aquarius. So let's use all the tools that we can gather, both from past historical knowledge as well as contemporary sources, in order to now use this numerological synchronicity that's constantly showing up to your advantage and for you to achieve your highest purpose in life. So let's learn how we can harness the energies and the vibrations that are showing up for you constantly in form of the number 11, because all of this happens for a reason. So now that we have understood that the number 11 is actually a number that urges you to step up into your leadership role, to take accountability and to lead, I want you to start to become really aware of when the number 11 is actually noticeable. So when this actually shows up for you. So I'll put this little thought bubble here. And I want you to think about this, and if you feel like sharing, you know, the comment section is here for you. When is it that you find that you notice the number 11? Because that will give you insight as to precisely what this number is trying to tell you, what this number synchronicity means for you. So as a whole, of course, we spoke about the underlying energy of seeing the number 11 being a number that urges you to step into leadership. So perhaps whenever you actually notice the number 11 and you see it somewhere, you may just be procrastinating an important task, or you know what actually needs to be done, but you're doing something else, and then, oh, 11 pops up and you're like, 11 again, what does this even mean? And then perhaps you move on to something else. But now I want you to become really aware of 11 when you see it again. Catch yourself in that moment and dissect what that moment means, how you're feeling and behaving in that very moment that you notice the number 11 appearing in your life. Because one thing that I want you to know is that basically this is the roadmap to your success. The number 11 is telling you what needs to be done. There's a reason why you're even here, why you're interested in watching this video and making sure that you understand what the number 11 even means. And here we've got this gift, right? And when you understand why this number is showing up and the precise moments in which it is showing up, you can catch yourself and you can do better, because the number 11 will continue to show up for you. It will continue to follow you like the plague, because the universe is saying to you, hey, I'm giving you this synchronicity, I'm communicating with you, I'm giving you this energy of leadership, this vibe of stepping up, this whole frequency that is affirming that you're a capable leader. Listen to it, do something about it. And until you listen, the universe is just going to keep throwing throwing the number 11 at you and you're going to be like, why is this happening? You have to learn the lesson in order to upgrade to the next synchronicity. Perhaps for you, it's also going to be dead birds. Maybe it's going to be a different number. And I want you to know that if your synchronicity would have been a different number, like for example, the number 4, which is a number that has the vibration and energy of building stability, of building a very calm, stable home life, of settling down, of investing, and so on, then the universe would be constantly showing you the number 4 because it wants you to become aware of behavior in which you're perhaps being a little irresponsible, and it's now time to be a responsible, mature adult. But you're receiving master number 11, the master number of stepping up. The universe is literally saying to you, what the F? I'm showing you this entire roadmap. Why aren't you listening? This is what number 11 means, but you're here, my gorgeous soul, and you're learning about the number 11. So now you know how to act on it and what it means and what the cosmos and the archetypal vibration that is being spread from number 11 is trying to urge you to do and is trying to say to you. And I want to remind you, you can't run from your destiny. You can't run from who you're meant to be. You can hide it. You can try to make yourself smaller. You can try to avoid it, but who you truly are is going to shine through in so many different ways. So why not just allow it to break free? Success flows to you and you flow to success. Success flows to you and you flow to success. You're 11. That's the message that 11 brings. This is a time of being successful, finally. Numerology gives you an understanding of your potential and how to maximize it. And during this cycle of your life, you're meant to be a pioneer in your friend circle, a pioneer within your family, a pioneer for yourself. You are being called to pivot. Start to pay closer attention to these synchronicities. Pay close attention to 11 without judging it, and you will receive all of the information that you need on what to do moving forward. So now, in order to use these number synchronicities that are meaningful and powerful, and you may ask yourself, all right, all of this sounds great, but how do I use this to actually maximize my potential? How do I actually use this number 11? What do I now actually do with it? What are the practical, actionable steps that I can now take? Well, you're on the right channel for just that. So I'm going to teach you how you can access new potentials and new scenarios within the quantum field. I will explain everything to you. So first, let's make this little depiction. Wow, this is highly disproportionate. Let's start this again. This is not what we're trying to pull from the quantum field. No disproportions. All 2024. Hello. Okay, here we go. What? I don't know what is going on here. All right, so third time's a charm. Let's give this another try. Here we go. All right, so here we are in the field, all right? Within the quantum field, all possibilities exist. And if all possibilities exist, then there is the possibility of you finding forever love, a husband, a wife, a soulmate. There is the possibility of you being insanely rich. There's also the possibility of you making an impact in this world in a super meaningful way, being famous, for example. There's the possibility of any of your dreams coming true, travel dreams, where you're gonna live, what you're gonna do in this lifetime. All of these options exist within the quantum field. But what we need to do in order to access these realities, and I'm gonna teach you something which is called turning energy into matter. What we first need to do is we need to disconnect from this harsh 3D, three-dimensional reality that you and I are currently in. That means becoming a nobody, no thing, no one, in no time and no space. Because the quantum field or unified field, however you'd like to call it, is an infinite space of intelligence in which all of these possibilities exist. And Newtonian laws and the regular laws of space and time aren't real. Basically, the way that we are taught to think does not exist within the quantum field. So knowing that the quantum field is an infinite, invisible field that is filled with energy and frequency, and knowing that all frequency carries information. Think about, for example, when someone enters a room. You don't need to know anything about that person for when they enter the room to already be able to make some sort of human judgment about them. Be it good, bad, that they're confident, sad, they're in a good mood, they're going through stress. I bet you, if we had person A and person B enter the room and you are blindfolded, none of your 5 senses are working. So you are blindfolded, you can't see them, you can't touch them, you can't smell them, you can't taste them, you can't hear them. Person 1 enters the room, and this is a middle-aged man who just lost his wife, is going through a lot of grief. You're sitting in that same room. Person A enters. It's going to feel energetically, vibrationally, completely different than when person B enters the room, who's a 5-year-old kid, excited to go to the playground and just entering this room to pick up some sort of candy that was promised to this kid that is person B. And you know what this feels like. You know what it's like when someone enters the room and your back is turned to them, but you can still feel something. That is called your sixth sense. That is called your intuition. So it goes beyond the 5 senses into the invisible realm. So while we don't have scientific proof as to how to access this realm, we don't yet have all of the scientific data to back this up. Well, how can we prove something that exists within a realm where our tools don't work, where our 5 senses don't apply? But does that negate the fact that the 6th sense or that the quantum field exists just because we cannot measure it with our tools? Does that mean that this field doesn't exist? I would say not, but we're all entitled to our own opinions. Basically, what this says about the quantum field is that there is an infinite amount of energy that vibrates beyond the world of matter and our senses. Basically, these are invisible ways of energy and frequency that are here accessible for us to use in co-creation. And we're going to talk about precisely how we can use this to co-create with the master number 11 that you have been seeing, that you have been connecting with specifically. All right, so let's talk about this. So since energy is frequency, and frequency carries information, that means that the energy of number 11 carries the frequency of independence, which carries the info to your enlightenment. So basically, you can use number 11 showing up as a synchronicity within your life as a vortex to your future, as the leader of your life, as the most successful person in your family, within your generation, and in your lineage. Because that's what repeatedly seeing the number 11 alludes to you needing to follow as a path. So in that way, you don't have to work to bring anything that you're manifesting to fruition. You don't have to go anywhere to access this. You have to become pure consciousness, which means no body, no one, in no space, and in no time, and nowhere, and change your energy. Your energy is the electromagnetic signal that you are currently broadcasting. And when you do that, you will draw the future that you desire right to you. And this process is called the process of turning energy into matter. So you can literally tune into the energy of a new future. And as you do so, the observer, which is the quantum field, is going to observe you, observing your future, and is going to reinforce this. It endorses this creation because you're feeling the emotion ahead of time. So let me explain this to you and precisely how this works. So this is you or us, and then here, let's just say you're in this bubble, okay? And outside of this, we've got the quantum field. And as you observe and you become nobody, no one, no space, no time, what the quantum field does is it reinforces this, it endorses this creation. Because the less space that you allow between yourself and the quantum field as you become consciousness, the more you will actually find that turning energy into matter happens automatically, especially the stronger the emotion that you feel. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have the quantum field, and we've got an eye here, we're going to want to have the quantum field observe that the energies that you are broadcasting out here into the universe, into the field, is the energy of feeling like you are this person that you want to become. If you want to become successful at business, you can't wait until your business is successful to feel good about yourself or to feel good about your business. You have to feel it now. If you want to get excited about your love life and finding the perfect person, you have to be excited about your life and yourself now to broadcast that energy. So the quantum field observes that and reinforces that by sending you that person who is actually healthy for you. So naturally, the event of your success will be drawn to you and you don't have to do anything. So again, this is the process of turning energy into matter. And every time from here on out, when you see the number 11, I want you to feel an emotion that is as elevated as possible of the thing that you are trying to draw from the quantum field, the energy that you are trying to turn into matter. I want you to feel it as though it's already happened. I want you to feel it as though you are on the biggest high of your life. Because the meaning of the number 11 that you keep seeing is to become a leader, is to step into this role in your life that you are now ready for. So rather than just being the observer, take the action of feeling these strong emotions ahead of time. Because the greater your energy that you're putting into your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions that you're broadcasting into the quantum field, the shorter the amount of time will be for your manifestations to actually appear in your life as matter. Focus on noticing your emotions next time you see the number 11. Focus on the strength of your emotions and watch how the power and the frequency of master number 11 showing up for you can actually completely transform your life from it just feeling like a meaningless coincidence to understanding this synchronicity and using this newfound understanding in order to create the life of your dreams. Thank you for being here. My name is Vanessa Samaina. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sending you so much love and I'll catch up with you in the next video.